This is the entrance to the deepest known cave in the world. High up in the French Alps, amongst the homely sights of cows and pine trees, lie hidden some of the most fantastic formations ever discovered beneath the earth. At a time when mammoths and woolly rhinoceros roamed this plateau, many hundreds of feet below, a series of vast halls and galleries was being created. The descent to them is not easy, but last August, the magic of seeing what few people have ever seen before drew a group of potholers from the Midlands and the north of England. More than just seeing for themselves, they were determined to record on film what they knew to be a tremendous and unique sight. Stalagmites said to be 50 feet high. And led by Dave Alsop, they humped with them over a ton of equipment, lights and batteries. Far more than the Frenchman Joe Berger carried when he and his companions discovered the cave in 1953. The Gouffre Berger, Berger's chasm, was inhospitable then, and it is now. Immediately you feel the intense cold. It's like walking into a refrigerator. But for cavers, discomfort is part of the adventure, and dangers can be calculated. Nonetheless, this is the first time an attempt has been made to film a cave descent as it happens, and it's going to take 8 days. Each man carries a 70-pound pack. It makes walking almost impossible, but it's going to be that anyway. A 90-foot drop. They call it the Ruith shaft. 11 years before, on only the second descent, a ladder broke and a Spaniard named Ruith fell. Now a wooden platform makes it possible for a steel wire ladder to hang down clear of the sides. Even so, it takes 4 hours to get themselves and their equipment down. Everyone wears gloves. It's summertime, but already the atmosphere is so damp and bitterly cold, you can see your own breath. At the bottom is the holiday slide. 3 short drops so awkwardly placed that the baggage has to be passed down by a human chain. Once, this first tight section of the cave was a small tributary to the river which bored out many thousands of years ago the awe-inspiring caverns that lie below.
Can you just bring it up? Another sling, anyone, please? Can anyone afford another sling?
A 20-foot pitch leads onto a platform of limestone shattered by intense pressure. 130 feet below the surface now, and at the top of the great drop into Cairn Hall, a foretaste of the galleries to come. With equipment, this is one of the worst pitches. You can't get to the edge. It just curves away, and then down for 100 feet. It will take them 8 hours to reach the bottom of Cairn Hall. This is the coldest part of the cave. There's a vicious draft, and from above a constant stream of water. Within a few minutes, bodies and limbs are frozen stiff, And in spite of all the precautions, it's on this pitch they have their first accident.
Walk away from you, right?
Luckily, it's the tape recorder, not a man. At the bottom of a shaft, you don't run to catch anything, you run the other way. And the recorder is completely wrecked. They try to mend the pieces. One of the cavers is a schoolmaster who teaches metalwork. But even with all wingnut skill and a battery-powered soldering iron, it's no good. A new recorder has to be brought in from Grenoble. Carbide lamps can ease the burden of waiting down below in more ways than one. Leading off from Cairn Hall is a winding cleft in the rock face, no more than a narrow slit. It's not for those who get the fear of high walls closing in. Perhaps a little under 200 yards long. It feels like miles. At first, the going is easy. But about halfway, the floor suddenly disappears, and you're left, clinging like an insect to the wall. You have to traverse, back and knee or any other way you can, above the open pit, with something like a 150-foot drop before you hit bottom. Going like this is very tiring. With both hands fully occupied, a kit bag or a 70-pound battery has to be hung down from the waist. To drop whatever you're carrying is to lose it. Then just as suddenly, not only does the floor reappear, but a sort of cubbyhole opens out. French cavers call this the boudoir. For once, there's no cold draft coming up from the depths, and it's a good place for a nosh-up and a camp. In this strange atmosphere of a cave, it's easy to forget the time. Day and night mean nothing, but aching bodies demand food and sleep just as much as on the surface.
We go caving in the rain. The birches are stretch for me, the birches are for me. The Cairn Hall ledge is wet and cold, it's here the bell for the talk is told. Birches are stretch for me, the birches are stretch for me.
Hot tea from a primus, curried meat, concentrated rations, and as warm a huddle as you can get under 300 feet of rock.
Derby shaft is marked with a cross, and nearly to the bottom went A.J. Foss. Birches are stretch for me, the birches are stretch for me. Green for Camp 1, red for 2.
Come on, Fox, let's have you up. Come on. Hey. Hey, what time it is? It's 9:15. You've had 8 hours good sleep. Now, come on. Come on. Out. Out you get. Out. All right, your boots on. Come on. There's your boots. There, just have some breakfast.
2 days below ground now. They find they have to sleep in tents or under plastic sheeting slung on a rope, or they wake up drenched with the condensation from their bodies in the cold. Beyond the boudoir, there's the same restricted running curve, through limestone walls glowing white in the bright lights. This time the floor is back again. But with rain up above, there's now a real risk of being cut off by sudden floods. Water is always a danger in caving, and in the Berger you can get trapped by a lake lower down overflowing. "50 yards maybe, and then suddenly the floor disappears yet again, and you have to go down with it. This is garbage shaft. Burrowing underground, one man below another in the shadows, can produce less tangible fears than those of flooding. A cave has been carved out of the living rock by powerful forces. It can bring back childhood terrors from the beginning of time. Another passage to yet another shaft. In 1953, as Joe Berger and his friends slowly explored the chasm, they were forced back again and again to the surface for new equipment. Each attempt revealed new obstacles, and to whet their appetites, sudden glimpses of the strange formations still to be discovered. The English cavers are now very near to the underground river, which drains the whole of the landscape above. The way down is by a shaft 140 feet deep, the deepest in the cave. No matter how fast you climb, by the time you reach the bottom, you are soaked through. The end of the ladder dangles in a huge puddle. Yet another narrow passage leads off downwards. But now at last, the Berger chasm is about to reveal the first of the wonders that it hides so well. This was the gallery torn out by the great river itself. Even battery lights brought specially for filming can hardly penetrate its vastness. Boulders, walls, everything is covered with a layer of hard brown mud from the floodwaters of 50 or 60,000 years ago. Often, after rain, a huge lake forms here, but fortunately the water level is still low. When the river fills up, it can do so in under half an hour, pouring down from a monster feeder hole in the roof. Then, with luck, you can swim for it if there's no dinghy.
Pretty deep, but if you keep the right hand side, that's a bad thing.
Right.
You got above the wall? Yeah, okay, you go back to the foot. Go on the side now. Okay. All right then. Yeah. Think?
Yeah. Cold, right?
I'm used to it too. Feet are leaking as well.
The only way on is down the river gallery into the black depths.
Oh, that was it.
Soon the river disappears amongst the boulders, and the expedition's powerful lights slowly reveal a hall so big that in places its roof is invisible. A place of pillars and vaults, eternally forming new shapes. The slope of the ground increases until it drops away vertically. When the lake overflows, the floodwaters pour down this pitch, making it impassable. Even now, a ladder is essential. At the bottom, a deep pool blocks the way. To secure a hand line on the other side, an aircraft survival dinghy is brought into use. But it's a fiasco. No one, least of all the occupant when he tries to set off, realizes that they've blown up only the hood, leaving the dinghy uninflated. They called this pool the Tyrolean, after the climbing principle used in sliding the heavy equipment across. The line won't carry the weight of a man, so to avoid a ducking in the freezing water, the cavers have to clamber around the sides, using the line as a guide. For an acrobat, this is a picnic. Once across, they decide to recharge the batteries. They need all the light they can get for the final stage of the exploration. The last chap who looked in the can of petrol with his lamp on blew his head off. Yet, with care, the generator, humped all this way, is going to pay off. Each man carries a carbon monoxide detector tube, which turns green in the presence of gas. But there's no reaction, and they climb on into another great gallery, so vast that the effect of their spotlights is reduced to that of pocket torches. It appears to be an enormous rubble heap, yet some of the boulders are as large as houses. At one point, the passage seems to divide. They think it's the wall in front of them, but it isn't. They're climbing over a great boulder 80 foot high that has dropped from the roof. It's hard to imagine that all this rock has fallen from walls that are miles thick, yet small stones are falling all the time from 100 feet above. After 8 days underground, they are nearing some of the most fantastic formations you'll ever see in a cave. While herds of reindeer and mammoths roamed the plateau some 1,600 feet above, this forest of stalagmites was building up, drip by drip, into a grotesque Martian landscape. Where at some early time the floor slowly collapsed, these stalagmites tilted and went on growing in their new positions. The high proportion of limestone in the trickling water precipitates at once, building up in the vast cavern that they have come to film a series of deep rimstone pools. At times they are forced to walk along the slippery edges. A deadly game. To fall in the numbing water with a 70-pound pack is like jumping off an ocean liner with the anchor tied round your neck. Yet beyond lies something unique, some of the most tremendous stalagmites in the world. One can imagine the exultation of the 13 men who first entered this hall and saw what no man had ever seen before. Stalagmites 50 feet tall, perhaps 60,000 years old. Forgetting the cameras, one of the English cavers is seized with a desire to break the silence pressing down on them in the chasm, to play the music of the earth.